Today on the podcast, you guys, you're going to have such a treat. I have my friend and somebody who inspires me regularly, Mycal Anders, on. Thank you so much for being here.
I'm pumped. I am honored to be here with you. We've been dancing around this for quite some time, so I'm finally on the verge of this next epic journey to talk about epic journeys.
Yeah. Well, it seems like every time we all get together, we launch into what's happening in the present moment. So we think about like future recordings or all of the other things that we've talked about planning. It's easy to forget about because I feel like our friendship and our friendship with our spouses, the four of us, we are uniquely present and in the moment when we are all together, which I value that so much about you guys.
It's rare.
It's really rare.
It's rare. And it's to be cherished. I know that from where Nicole and I sit, any opportunity we get to be with you guys and hold space is just absolutely incredible. And you know, that circle with that kind of energy is very small. And at this point in our lives, intentionally curated.
Which I want to talk to you about. This month on the podcast, we're talking self-care. And I think curating your circle is such a huge part of self-care. Not only that, you wrote a book called Inner Circle, right?
Yeah.
Which is about this curation. So can you touch on that and why you think it's so important that we edit who we share space with?
Yeah, I call it auditing your circle. And what I've noticed is, you know, throughout the years, I've just been really blessed in my training career with client longevity. And as we start to explore the human experience beyond looking better naked and getting off blood pressure medicine and stuff like that, you know, the conversation just very naturally, in my experience, has segued into like this bigger, like what it is to be happy, fulfilled, and successful simultaneously. You know, and I've definitely had the opportunity to train folks who were successful and absolutely miserable. But I've had more clients that were successful and happy and accomplishing their mission and doing the incredible things that they do while living their best life. And one of the common threads of those people that quote unquote had it all were living their best lives and achieving high levels of success. They were extremely like almost what's the word I'm searching for right now? Just cutthroat with who they let in their circle. And if you're not present tense, because it's an active practice, if you're not able to engage in a conversation that is moving the needle, projecting forward, talking about a bigger mission, being a better version of yourself, they're just not interested. You know, who cares about Monday Night Football? How many lives are we changing?
Right? Yes, you know, that could be a pull quote right there. Who cares about Monday Night Football?
You know,
how many lives are we changing?
And I love football. You know what I mean? Like,
you're a football player. You were a football player.
Yeah, I mean, totally. Football is very much a part of my journey. However, it's like, you know, tell me about your next big adventure. Tell me about what you're building now. Like these very progressive conversations. And like, if we don't have to talk about it all the time, you know what I mean?
Sure.
But it's more so the willingness and the ability to go there. If you don't have it, like, we need not engage.
Yeah. Well, and you guys, both you and Nicole, your wife, Nicole, you guys are so great at holding space. So I know you want to live on that. I always relate it to frequency. Like we all, you, me, Sam, Nicole, we all want to vibrate on this high frequency on the daily, but you're not afraid to be vulnerable or to hold space or to talk about the deep shit, which is so important.
I cry all the time.
Yeah. And we all do. And it's great. But the overall theme is we have high vibrational conversations. And I mean us, obviously, but also the people in our inner circles.
Yeah.
How do you, because I know now people are going to be going, I'm going to start thinking about who's in my inner circle. How do you gracefully edit? I think that has been part of my problem personally, speaking from experience, because while I am very willing to have direct conversations with people, I have had leaky boundaries in the past where I'm like, well, man, but that person really needs some love right now. And I have some love to give. Yeah. How do you be cutthroat about it?
Well, I'm gonna give you two examples. One in the professional context and one in the personal context. And I'll start with the personal. So as Next Level evolves, and since I've been out of the Marines in this entrepreneurial space, one of the things that I figured out over the course of the last decade is I don't need to fire anybody. I've only fired, like said, hey, you can't work here anymore. Two of my staff ever, twice in 2 years.
Wow.
Everybody else that has left opted out. They got off at their stop. And what I figured out was, and this will segue into the personal here in a second, instead of firing people for the inability to perform or breaking the rules or not, abiding by our core values or any of that other esoteric stuff they teach you in business school, I just continue to raise the standard. And when they decide that they no longer want to evolve with us, it's okay to leave. I've made it a cultural norm within our organization that when it's your time to get off the bus, I fully support that, because you have you've gotten what you needed from this experience, whatever that is.
It's an energetic exchange where the energies no longer match. So instead of it needing to be a big conversation or something that causes people pain, it really is just a shifting of energies, and people naturally spin out of the orbit, so to speak. 100%. I love that.
And where that filters into the personal side of things, I just did a talk about this at the Leaders Forum, and I was so proud of it because it landed for everybody in the room. In that when you're auditing your circle, one of the things that I think, going back to the energy of it all, if you feel inhibited, reluctant, or just outright scared to share your big vision with somebody, they don't need to be in your circle.
Oh, that is a great set of standards.
It's like, what? Yeah. And then, beyond that, before you judge them against that, here's the caveat when it comes to personal responsibility. When you feel that, before you just shit can them and kick them to the curb, you have to ask yourself, why is this a trigger for me? Why am I afraid? Why am I reluctant? Why do I feel inhibited to share this big vision with this person? Right. And it's through that exploration, you got to get to that next piece, right? You can't just identify that you've been triggered. I think that's where we all make the leap and mess things up prematurely.
That's such a good note. It's true.
Once you identify the external stimulus, now you have to look inward and identify, where's that conflict within me, and why does it exist? And then, one of the maxims of my life is controlling what I can control.
Stoic philosophy.
And if I can't manage this situation, I definitely don't want to change this person, right? Sure. But in all of my relationships, and I feel like I'm kind of circling around this thing, but I'm always asking myself, as it pertains to relationships, whether it's me and my wife, you and Sam, right? Anybody I'm in business dealings with, any of my friends, past, present, or future, right? I'm always, almost constantly asking myself, am I serving them and are they serving me?
Mm-hmm.
And that's not like, are they able to do me a favor, or, can I get something out of them? No, that's not what I mean by service.
Mm-mm.
Am I a value add to them? Are they a value add to me? Does
Mm-hmm.
their existence in my life make them a force multiplier of any kind
Mm-hmm.
to my energy? Am I better? Am I a better version of myself with them than I would be without them?
Mm-hmm.
And the magnitude of that influence dictates where they are in any given circle.
Mm-hmm. It makes perfect sense. And it also makes perfect sense on when somebody is brave enough to do that,
Mm-hmm.
how they can then get to the next level much, much faster, because they're not bleeding energy in
Mm-hmm.
all of these boats that have leaks in them, so to speak,
right.
To move with that metaphor. So in order to get to this place of self-awareness,
mm-hmm.
which obviously you've got a lot of self-awareness and it takes a lot of work to get to that space, mm-hmm. I would put that under the self-care umbrella.
Yeah.
And it may be uncomfortable sometimes, but mm-hmm. we have to care for ourselves sometimes by doing uncomfortable things, mm-hmm. and we have to get comfortable with the discomfort.
Yeah.
So what are some daily rituals, weekly rituals, monthly, even mm-hmm. yearly, that you have put into practice to get you into a headspace where you are constantly evaluating the mm-hmm. output of energy versus the input of energy, and how it makes you feel and how it gets you to the next level?
So I'm a huge advocate for servant leadership. I feel like, there's a saying in the Marine Corps that if you put any two Marines in a room, one of them's in charge. Mm-hmm. Right. And, by that philosophy, I look at it from a perspective of influence. Right. Mm-hmm. In sales, they would say that you're either doing the selling or you're the one being sold. Right. You're either being the influence or you're being influenced. Right. Mm-hmm. And that exchange is happening all day long in human interaction, right? And in the position that I'm in, the visionary for this organization called Next Level, my entire existence right now in this season of life is dedicated to the service of others. I'm either growing my coaches, I'm mm-hmm. growing my children, right? I'm mm-hmm. I'm growing with my wife, right? Mm-hmm. Literally, I spend all day 5:30 a.m. to 7:30 at night. What is that? 14 hours. I spend 14 hours a day giving to others, right? My energy is going out.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a lot.
So a couple of things that I do to protect that energy and make sure that the cup is full enough to manage that output. I wake up at 4:30 in the morning. It doesn't matter that I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, right? It's just a statement of fact. And I get 60 to 90 minutes of Mycal time. It's when I do my reading. It's when I do my journaling. It's when I do my reflection, my expression of gratitude. I identify, am I living in alignment with our big goal, right? And I do all of that over a cup of coffee in the first 60 to 90 minutes of my day. Mm-hmm. And then the rest of the day is, Nicole, kids, clients, coaches, right? And once a week, I check in with my mentor, who very swiftly and very efficiently kicks me in the balls, exposes me to blind spots, tells me hard truths, is extremely encouraging as to where we're going and supportive of how we're going to get there. All of those things, but and physical fitness is obviously a huge part of my practice as well, managing the vessel that is Mycal. Mm-hmm. And So all of that is in my daily and weekly practice. And then the reason I'm able to get up at 4 o'clock at the 4:30 in the morning is, I'm winding it down between 8 and 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
So I'm getting my 7-8 hours of sleep. Too many people focus on what time they wake up and not enough
not what time they go to bed.
I know. Like it doesn't. Yeah. 8 hours is 8 hours. It doesn't matter where it exists on this side of the sun or not.
Yeah. And there's just something so magical about the morning and the quiet of the morning. The earlier it is, I find the more peaceful I feel.
It's funny. I tell people that I make all my money in the morning.
Yes.
And it doesn't have any.
I love that.
And it doesn't have anything to do with income generating activities.
No. But it allows. Sorry.
No, that's okay. The most productive, and significant part of my day, in terms of me providing me the ability to show up as the best version of myself for my people, is in that first 60 to 90 minutes.
It makes perfect sense. I agree with you.
Period.
Yeah. My morning routine is the game changer. If I skip over it, I feel like I'm on defense all day rather than being on offense.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, I definitely want to put a caveat in here. You have to figure out where that time exists for you. Where it is doesn't matter as much as the fact that it exists at all. And I think, if you look at all the influencers out there that are like, oh yeah, get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, the Jocko Willinks of the world, oh my God, what's his name? The dude who runs all the ultras, the Navy SEALs, can't hurt me. David Goggins, stay hard. Like those guys, the Andrew Tates of the world. I think there's a lot of value to his message. They're very dogmatic in what works for them. And I think that if you're lacking awareness, or you're ignorant of why it works for them, it may not work for you.
I love that you just said that.
So it doesn't matter where that 60 to 90 minutes, and it might be more, it might be less, but you have to have it. You have to have it. It is literally, I'm batting 1,000 on this, on the people of influence in my life, that present any of those 11 principles in Inner Circle, that have been humble enough to grace me with their presence on my podcast back in the day. That was one of the things, the commonalities amongst all of them. Some of them found that space in meditation. Others, have like this beautiful mind scatter plot on their whiteboard wall in their office. Others are
I've got 2 of them right here.
Others are just running up and down the canal for 60 minutes or whatever, and just the catharsis that comes with steady state anything. So there's a million ways to skin that cat, and you have to go through a certain amount of self-exploration, trying it all to figure out what works best for you. For me, I'm moving all day long, so I cherish stillness. When the kids wake up early, I call it quiet time, and I don't abandon it. I'm very dogmatic in this practice, in that if I haven't gotten what I only give myself the hour, so that's it, no more, no less. But if I'm in that space, not my wife, not my kids, not my business can interrupt that.
Mm-hmm.
I won't allow it because I know what the consequences are if I compromise
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. You won't be the most you.
Right.
And to be Mycal Anders requires a lot of energy.
So I've been told.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Definitely.